So it's now looking likely that this September we're going to see Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, the rematch. Deontay Wilder's come out on Twitter to say that he signed his end of the deal. I've seen Mike Coppinger report that it's looking likely towards the end of September in LA, the Staples Center again possibly, and it looks like this time the rematch is actually going to be on Showtime pay-per-view. Okay, so this kind of kills any possibility of seeing the Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder fight this year. To be perfectly frank, I'm not shocked that we're not going to see that fight this year, just because from what I've heard from Team Wilder, they just don't seem to want to do that fight this year for whatever reason. And yeah, it looks likely that it's going to be Ortiz versus Wilder in the rematch. Luis Ortiz had the chance to face Anthony Joshua this week for a career high payday. He chose to turn it down. Okay, now there are two reasons as to why I think Luis Ortiz would have turned down a career high payday against Anthony Joshua. The first one is, I'm not making any accusations, but the drug testing. I think that VADA drug testing, Luis Ortiz's history in the past, getting a call on short notice like that, if there was anything in his system that shouldn't be there, how long would it take to get it out? I'm not saying that's the reason. And I think that the other reason Luis Ortiz didn't take this Anthony Joshua fight and looked likely to take on Wilder, Al Heyman. You got to figure that Al Heyman, he definitely has a good bit of sway. I think he has more sway than anybody on his fighters. Now, he's not officially a promoter, he's an advisor. But if you figure that Luis Ortiz is advised by Al Heyman, Deontay Wilder is advised by Al Heyman, and that Luis Ortiz is turning down career high paydays, mega paydays against Anthony Joshua, a fighter who he's wanted for a long time. If he's turning that down to face Deontay Wilder, and will he get close to 5 million? I doubt it. I'd be surprised if Luis Ortiz got even $1 million for the Wilder rematch, really. That's the only thing I can think of as to why Ortiz is deciding to... Now, he hasn't, to be fair, Ortiz hasn't signed his end of the contract. Deontay Wilder's saying that he has. But you would expect Luis Ortiz to sign his end of the deal and to face Deontay Wilder then in September. That's the only thing I can think of is Al Heyman. Al Heyman, as I said, he's not officially a promoter. He's an advisor, but, what's he advising these fighters if they're turning down career high paydays to fight rematches with a guy who's already beat you, and, you're probably not going to make close to 5 million. That's the only thing I can think of. In looking at the fight, Ortiz versus Wilder, the rematch, it's a decent fight on paper. The first fight was competitive. Wilder had his moments where he was hurt. Ortiz was down a couple of times in that fight. I would imagine that Deontay Wilder would win again. That's what I just feel. I'd say that Wilder would probably win again. He might even do it earlier this time. So in that sense, it's kind of, if I wanted to see Deontay Wilder in a rematch, I want to see the Tyson Fury rematch. But I don't know when that fight will happen or if that fight will happen. I have heard Eddie Hearn say in interviews that Tyson Fury is, good to go with the Dillian Whyte fight. As I said, assume both fighters win. But realistically, in terms of rematches, that's the rematch I'd want to see for Deontay Wilder. Him versus Tyson Fury in a rematch. Luis Ortiz, it's a decent fight, but realistically, we've already seen that. We saw what happened the first time, and I'd expect Deontay Wilder to do it again in the rematch. Probably easier this time. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. But it's a head scratcher. It really is. It's a head scratcher that Luis Ortiz could be fighting Anthony Joshua this week for 3 titles and a career high payday, but he chose to, or he looks likely to choose a rematch with Deontay Wilder for more than likely a lot less money. It's a head fuck, I tell you. I really don't know what to say, but if that's the route they want to go, let them have it. Let me know what you think down below. This rematch, are you interested? Are you invested in it? Showtime pay-per-view, do you think that's going to do any decent numbers? Nah, I wouldn't imagine so. Personally, I can't see that fight doing mega numbers, to be fair. So let me know what you think down below. You excited about the fight? Will you tune in? Leave it down below. If you're new, as always, like the video if you liked it. If you're new to the channel, subscribe if you're new. And as always, I will talk to you after.